In March 2023, a team of scientists gathered around a computer screen inside a research facility in Cairo. They were staring at data that had just come back from sensors placed around the base of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Nobody spoke for almost a minute. What the algorithm had just mapped inside the oldest and largest stone structure ever built by human hands was something that 4,500 years of human history had never revealed. A hidden corridor, 9 meters long, 2 meters wide. Sitting just above the main entrance of the pyramid, sealed inside the stone, invisible to every person who had ever looked at this building since the day it was finished. The discovery made front pages around the world for one day. Then the news cycle moved on. But the corridor is still there, and what it connects to, and what the same technology found in the deeper scans that have not yet been fully published, is the real story. This is what the pyramid has been hiding, and this is how we finally found it. Before we get to what is inside, you need to understand what we are actually dealing with, because most people look at the Great Pyramid and see an old building. What engineers see is something else entirely. The Great Pyramid of Giza was built approximately 4,500 years ago during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu. It contains an estimated 2.3 million stone blocks. The average weight of each block is 2.5 tons. Some of the blocks in the internal chambers weigh 80 tons. The total weight of the structure is approximately 6 million tons. It covers 53,000 square meters of ground. It was the tallest structure on Earth for 3,800 years. No building surpassed it in height until Lincoln Cathedral in England was completed in 1311 CE. Now here is what makes engineers go quiet when they study it carefully. The base of the Great Pyramid is a square 230 meters on each side. The four sides differ in length by a maximum of 4.4 centimeters. In a structure this size, built without laser measuring equipment, without GPS, without modern surveying technology, that margin of error is so small that modern construction projects do not routinely achieve it. The base is level to within 2.1 centimeters across its entire surface. The four sides are oriented to the cardinal directions, north, south, east, west, with an accuracy of 0.067 degrees. Nobody has fully explained how this was achieved. The surveying precision required to lay out a base of this size, with this accuracy, on a bedrock plateau, using only the tools available in 2500 BCE, is a problem that engineers have been studying for decades without producing a consensus answer. The internal structure is equally extraordinary. The King's Chamber, the main room deep inside the pyramid, is built from 100 granite blocks, each weighing between 25 and 80 tons. These blocks were quarried at Aswan, 800 kilometers away, transported to Giza, lifted to a height of 43 meters inside the structure, and fitted together with joints so tight that a sheet of paper cannot be inserted between them. Above the King's Chamber are 5 stress-relieving chambers, spaces designed to distribute the weight of the millions of tons of stone above so that the room below does not collapse. These chambers were not discovered until 1837. The ancient Egyptians built them, sealed them inside the pyramid, and never intended them to be seen. They built them anyway, to a standard of engineering precision that the pyramid has maintained for 4,500 years without any maintenance. We know the Egyptians built this. The evidence for that is overwhelming and not seriously disputed. What we do not fully understand is how, and the question of what is inside it, what spaces might still be sealed within those 6 million tons of stone, has never been fully answered. Until now. Part 2. The Machine That Sees Through Stone, 5 o'clock to 9:30. In 2015, an international collaboration called the Scan Pyramids Project was launched. It brought together scientists from Egypt, France, Japan, and Canada. Their goal was to scan the interior of the Great Pyramid using non-invasive technology. No drilling, no excavation, no removing a single stone. Just sensors placed around and inside the building, reading what was there. The technology they used is called muon tomography. Muons are subatomic particles produced when cosmic rays from deep space hit the upper atmosphere of the Earth. Billions of them pass through your body every second. They are harmless. They are also extraordinarily useful for imaging large, dense objects because they are absorbed differently depending on the density of the material they pass through. A void, an empty space inside solid stone, lets more muons through than the stone itself. By placing detectors inside and around the pyramid and measuring the muon flux, you can map the density of the interior the way a hospital CT scanner maps the density of tissue in a human body. The Scan Pyramids team placed muon detectors in the known internal spaces of the pyramid: the Queen's Chamber, the descending corridor, the base of the Grand Gallery. And they waited. Muon tomography takes time. The detectors need to accumulate enough particle data to produce a statistically reliable image. The team left the equipment running for months. In October 2017, they published their results in the journal Nature. What the muon data had revealed was a large void above the Grand Gallery. The Grand Gallery is a soaring 47-meter-long ascending corridor inside the pyramid, 8.5 meters tall, with corbelled walls that lean inward as they rise. It is one of the most impressive architectural spaces in the ancient world, and directly above it, the muon detectors had found an empty space, at least 30 meters long, possibly longer. The detectors could confirm it was there, but could not determine its exact boundaries or what was inside it. The discovery made global headlines. It was the first major new space found inside the Great Pyramid since the 19th century. The team was careful about their language. They called it a void. They did not speculate about what it was for. They said that further investigation would be needed to determine its nature and significance. What happened next is where the story becomes extraordinary. The Scan Pyramids team did not stop in 2017. They continued scanning. They refined their technology. They added ground-penetrating radar and infrared thermography to the muon data, building a more complete picture of the pyramid's interior from multiple types of sensor data simultaneously. They were building something that had never existed before, a complete map of what was inside the most studied building in the history of the world. In March 2023, they published new results, and this time the discovery was specific enough to show the world. Sitting directly above the main entrance of the Great Pyramid, 9 meters long and 2 meters wide, was a previously unknown corridor. It had been sealed inside the stone since the pyramid was finished. It had been there every time a tourist walked through the entrance below it, every time a researcher descended into the passages, every time a camera crew filmed the interior. For 4,500 years, it was there, and nobody knew. Imagine walking past the same wall every day for your entire life. Every day you see the same stone, the same surface, the same ancient face of the oldest wonder of the world. And behind that wall, 2 meters away from your eyes, there has been a hidden room for longer than human civilization has existed in any form you would recognize. That is what the corridor represents. The Egyptian Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities confirmed the discovery. Dr. Zahi Hawass, the prominent Egyptologist, acknowledged it. The team published their findings in the journal Nature Communications. The corridor is real, documented, peer-reviewed, and still sealed. What is it for? The honest answer is that we do not know yet. The corridor sits in a location that would have been significant during the construction process. Some researchers believe it may have been a structural feature designed to redistribute weight above the main entrance. Others believe it was a passage that connected to another space, possibly the large void found above the Grand Gallery in 2017. Others believe it may have had a ritual or symbolic function. The corridor itself does not yet tell us. Its relationship to the other spaces inside the pyramid is still being mapped. What we know is that a structure we have been studying intensively for 200 years still contains spaces we did not know were there until a machine looked inside it. Here is the part of this story that receives less attention than the corridor itself. The void found in 2017 has not been fully characterized. It is at least 30 meters long, but its full extent is not known. Its height is not fully determined. Whether it contains objects, whether it connects to other spaces, whether it is a single room or a series of passages, none of this has been established. The technology that found it can confirm its existence and its approximate size. It cannot tell us what is inside it. The Scan Pyramids project is ongoing. Additional scanning data has been collected since 2017 and since 2023 that has not yet been fully published. The team has been methodical and careful, releasing results only when the data meets the high standards required for peer-reviewed publication. This is exactly how science should work. It also means that what has been published represents a subset of what has been found. Egyptian archaeologist Dr. Mostafa Waziri, who heads the Supreme Council of Antiquities, has stated publicly that further investigation of the newly discovered corridor is planned. The method being discussed is an endoscopic camera inserted through a small gap between the stones, allowing visual inspection without removing any stone. This approach has been used before in Egyptian monuments. It is minimally invasive, and it can tell us immediately whether there are objects inside. That investigation had not yet been completed as of the most recent public reporting. The corridor is still sealed. The void above the Grand Gallery is still uncharacterized. The pyramid still has rooms we have never looked into. Now consider what the Egyptians put in the spaces they built inside this structure that we have found. The king's chamber contained Khufu's sarcophagus, now empty, stripped by tomb robbers in antiquity. The queen's chamber contained a sealed niche that may have held a statue of the king. The subterranean chamber, carved into the bedrock below the pyramid, is unfinished, and its purpose is still debated. The stress-relieving chambers above the king's chamber contain the only graffiti inside the entire pyramid, paint marks left by the work gangs who built it, with the name of Khufu written by workers who would never be seen by anyone for 4,000 years, until a British explorer found them in 1837. Every space inside this pyramid that we have looked into has told us something we did not know. The spaces we have not looked into yet are waiting to do the same. There is a larger question underneath all of this that the corridor and the void force us to confront. We have been studying the Great Pyramid intensively since Napoleon's expedition to Egypt in 1798. That is 225 years of modern scientific investigation. We have sent in explorers and archaeologists and engineers. We have measured every surface. We have mapped every known passage. We have analyzed the stone. We have dated the organic material trapped in the mortar. We have done everything that science knew how to do with this building. And we missed a corridor sitting 2 meters behind the main entrance and a void the size of a commercial aircraft sitting above the most famous room inside it. This is not a failure of science. It is a demonstration of how much there is to know inside a structure of this scale and complexity. Every generation of researchers has applied the best tools available to them and found what those tools could find. The muon tomography that found the void and the corridor is a technology that did not exist in useful form until the early 2000s. We could not have found these spaces earlier because we did not yet have the instruments to see them. The implication is direct and important. The tools we have today are the best we have ever had. They are not the best tools that will ever exist. Future technology will see things inside the Great Pyramid that the current generation of sensors cannot detect. We are at the beginning of understanding this building, not the end. Khufu built the largest structure in the history of the world. He built it to last forever. He built it to preserve something, his legacy, his body, his connection to the divine, in a form that could not be destroyed. He succeeded beyond any reasonable expectation. The pyramid is still here, still structurally sound, still keeping its secrets. Some of those secrets are now being revealed for the first time in 45 centuries by a technology that reads cosmic rays from deep space to see through stone. The people who built this building were not primitive. They were not mysterious aliens. They were human beings who applied extraordinary intelligence, organizational capacity, and engineering skill to a problem that mattered to them more than any other problem in the world. The result is still standing, and it still has things to tell us. In March 2023, a hidden corridor appeared on a screen in Cairo after 4,500 years of silence. Somewhere above the Grand Gallery, a void the size of a subway car is still waiting to be looked into. And somewhere in the data that the Scan Pyramids team has collected and not yet published, there may be more. The Great Pyramid is the most studied building in human history. It has been examined by more scientists, measured by more instruments, written about in more books, and visited by more people than any other structure ever built. And it is still surprising us. That is not a mystery. That is not a conspiracy. That is what happens when human beings build something so well, so carefully, and so permanently that it takes the rest of human history to catch up to what they knew. The corridor is there. The void is there. The answers are coming. And when they arrive, they will not make the Great Pyramid less extraordinary. They will make it more. Subscribe. Because when the endoscope goes into that corridor and the camera shows us what is inside, you will want to be here.